All right, so now we have the recording process as well. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We are learning Sipur Maisios, Rabbi Nachman's story, the story of the Burgher and the Pauper. So let's just get to the story itself and take a look at what's going on. So they came back. The Burgher saved the Pauper's wife. They came back because they were able to withstand the tests. The Tzadik was blessed with a son, and the Pauper's wife was blessed with a daughter. It's extremely interesting. She gave birth to a daughter, as you can see here, and the daughter was unbelievably and extraordinarily beautiful. It was a beauty that set her apart from the rest of humanity. Such a beauty is never found amongst human beings. People would say she should only reach maturity because a person so unique, it is difficult for him to survive to maturity. And her beauty was very extraordinary, the likes of which had never before seen in the world. And all the people would come to see her, and they were very astonished at her beauty, which was very, very extraordinary. They gave her gifts all the time out of their love to her. Everyone sent so many gifts that Pauper became wealthy. So before we continue with the story, we are now holding in the month of Tammuz. The months of Tammuz and Av, these are the two fateful months where the calamities of the Churban Beis HaMikdash took place. And as we say on the Lamentations of Eicha, we say that that Yerushalayim is Mesos Kol Haaretz, the beauty of the entire land, the beauty of the world, that people used to come from all over the world, and they used to wonder at the beauty of the Beis HaMikdash. Now, the beauty of the Beis HaMikdash comes, the beauty of the Mishkan is not just it was physically beautiful. It was a beauty that caused people to actually throw away their cravings and taivas. It was a beauty that made people realize the chen amiti of avodas Hashem, and people used to get a tremendous cheshek to avodas Hashem, and that is the chen that the Tzadik has. And being that she was now connected with this vow to the Tzadik Emes, she got a daughter that contained all the beauty in the world of the Beis HaMikdash. The Enochinami, the root of the beauty is by the Tzadik, but the expression of the beauty is by the Malchus. The Malchus is that Bechina that receives the light from above. And it is through the Malchus is that you can actually discern the beauty from above. It's like when a person sees a movie, so the movie is projected on a screen, but the movie is not on a screen. The movie is happening way before, on the film or whatever it is that the images are. The screen itself is white, it's empty. It is ready to project the beauty of that film, of that movie. The Havdil, the same thing, is in Beis Hamikdash. Beis Hamikdash was the kli. The emuna is the kli. The wife of the daughter of the wife of the pauper. She is the vessel, and there the beauty, which is the beauty of the Tzadik emes, is being exposed and spreads throughout the world. The main thing is there should be a shidduch and a connection between her and the Tzadik emes. The main nakuda that is important to emphasize here is that we are sort of like walking through the world basically blind as a bat. Rabbeinu says in Torah Aleph that the main chen, the charm, the beauty, as it were, is by the goyim. Because it fell. It's our chen that fell. When the chen is by the chen of a Jew, is the Jewish chen, then we see the beauty and the sweetness of Avodas Hashem. But when that grace, that beauty falls and it resides by the goyim, so the chen is either the art of the goyim produce, or the home run hitters and whatever, I don't know, that people are getting hooked on, because this is the chen of olam hazeh. And then when a person is caught up in the chen of this world, it is impossible for him to discern the chen of the Tzadik emes. It's like when a person, they have these very, very delicate, in the orchestra, they have like a triangle that when you cling it, makes a very, very delicate sound. And then, the rustling of the leaves, and, nature, makes like a very quiet sounds, like water. But when a person goes into a factory, and in that factory, they're banging with big hammers on anvils and big machinery, and so what happens is that the ears become desensitized. So when the person goes outside and listen to the music of that triangle, or really delicate music, he can't even hear anything, because he's used to excitement that is so much rougher, so much cruder. The same thing happens when people look at crude sights. And it doesn't really matter whether we're talking about violence, or we're talking about immorality, or we're talking about any kind of that crudeness desensitizes a person and makes it impossible for the person to hear and to discern the beauty of Yiddishkeit. As Rabbeinu says, in the Torah Samechei Chelek Beis, the famous Samech Zayin, the famous Torah that about the Stalkus Tzadik, that the Tzadik passes away, that the beauty of the world passes away. And Rabbeinu said it. People thought that Rabbeinu was eulogizing Reb Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev, which he was. He just passed away before, but actually Rabbeinu was already eulogizing his own Istalkus. That was a few months before Rabbeinu himself passed away. And all the beauty of the world is by the Tzadik. But you can't see the beauty of the Tzadik if you allow your eyes to gaze and be satiated by the chen of the goy. The only way to rebuild it is through the limit of Torah. This is the time. The time is coming. It's coming up soon. The 3 weeks. It's Hashem, Bezat Hashem, Mashiach should come quickly. The 3 weeks is Shivasa B'Tammuz and culminating in Tisha B'Av. This amazing this lamentation of the fact that because we fell, because we desensitized ourselves, we are not able to see the beauty of the Beis HaMikdash again. Let's take a quick look at the story and continue and see what is going on here. And as we said, they gave gifts and the beauty continued. In the meantime, the Burgher got the idea they should contract a marriage with the Pauper because of a great beauty that was really unique. He said to himself, that might be the significance of the dreams, which was, what he brought to the paper, whatever it is that was his was brought to the Pauper, whatever belonged to the Pauper was brought to him. The dream might mean that they're making a shidduch between them. And as the result of their joining, they were being intermingled. So one day the daughter of the Pauper came to visit him, and he told her of his desire to arrange the marriage. And she said, I also thought of this. She said, but I wasn't so bold to discuss it with you. But if you want it, I'm certainly prepared to go along with it, and I'll do anything, so nothing to hinder. And we said that she swore that everything would belong to him, and the daughter of the Burgher's son, the Burgher's daughter, went to school together, learning foreign languages and like that. In other words, they were the real shidduch, because the main nekuda that we need to understand is that to understand why we cannot possibly advance and get any kind of rectification unless we're connecting to the Tzadik. This we can understand. But why does the Tzadik need the shidduch with us? That's the question. But the answer is, when Moshe Rabbeinu was on Har Sinai, this is what we learned on Thursday. When Moshe Rabbeinu went on Har Sinai, and Am Yisrael did the Egel Azov, so Kadosh Baruch Hu said to him, Lech reid kishichet amcho. Go down, for your people have sinned. Here, so Rabbeinu says that the Midrash already said, because Baruch Hu said, I only gave you greatness, I only give you great asagas for Am Yisrael, for the sake of Am Yisrael. If Am Yisrael are not doing what they're supposed to do, you're not getting any kind of these great revelations. Go down from your Madriga. The same, not the same way, but like Am Yisrael cannot exist without the Tzadik. The same way the Tzadik, there's no point in the existence of the Tzadik without Am Yisrael. Because Am Yisrael is the people of Hashem, and his role is to get them closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the whole thing. They are tied, they're tied at the hips to one another. That's a tzaddik and Am Yisrael. That's the union of the shidduch between them. And it is when the tzaddik, the Torah of the tzaddik, which is the son of the tzaddik in the story, is being matched up together with the daughter of the pauper, which has all the beauty in the world. That's a neshama for Jew that has all the beautiful points, the points of light, the point of godly beauty. It is the job of the tzaddik to elevate it and to blow the dust that covers the diamond, which is the neshama of every single Jew, and to elevate and get that Jew closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that is the reason for the shidduch. It's the reason why they belong to one another. And as we said before, we read it last week, but we should read it again, that now, the royal ministers came to see her, they were very pleased, they realized it's beyond human bounds, and then they had an idea of contracting marriage with the pauper. The ministers who had sons wanted, their sons to get married to her. So now, but it wasn't proper for them to marry such low station. So they needed to make an effort to raise the pauper status. So they arranged for the pauper to get appointment in the emperor's service. First as a lieutenant, afterwards he rose higher and higher because they hastened his promotion every time until he rapidly rose very, very high until he became a general. At this point, the ministers wanted to go ahead and contract marriage with him, but it was very difficult, since many ministers wanted to do this. And so they worked to secure his promotion. And therefore, he could not make a match with anyone. Besides, he could not make a match with them because his daughter was already betrothed to the match to the Burgher's son. So once the pauper became a general, became even more successful, and the emperor sent him to battles and was victorious, we said. And then the emperor died. All the citizens decided that the pauper would be the new emperor. And when the minister met, they all agreed he should be the emperor. And the man who previously was a pauper now became an emperor. And he fought wars. He was very successful because he had many lands. And he fought more wars. And he was always victorious, making more conquests. until all the land decided they would willingly subjugate themselves to him because they saw his great success since he had all the beauty in the world, as well as every possible good fortunes. And all the kings met together, decided that he would be the emperor of the entire world. That would give him the document in the golden letters. This particular point in the story is all the ministers are all the tzaddikim. When all the tzaddikim, they get to see the beauty of Am Yisrael. They all work on Am Yisrael to elevate them, and to elevate them even more and more and more all the time. Now, the thing is that when the elevation occurs out of order, in other words, it's not something that occurs step by step, but it's somebody who is artificially being raised higher and higher. What happens next, as we will see, is now that the Pauper is the emperor of the entire world, it's beneath him to be matched, for his daughter to be matched with the daughter of a mere Burgher. The thing is that we find many times when people are not connected to Tzadik Emes, they are into Yiddishkeit. They are into Yiddishkeit, either through learning Torah, either through tefillah or chesed or whatever. But the one thing that they lack is the kesher with the tzaddik amiti, with the real tzaddik. What happens is that their entire view is distorted. We learned this at great depth at Torah Chaf Aleph, where a person should begin with emunah, should begin with prayer, and continue with Yiras Shamayim, continue with the emunas chachamim. And when it comes to the eyes, not to look at that which is above him or that which is below him. In other words, don't look at things which don't befit you. When a person is not connected to the tzaddik, one of the most important things that the tzaddik does is he calibrates the material, the tests, trials, tribulations that the person is exposed to. So a person is always dealing with something which is commensurate with his quote-unquote pay grade. And when you are actually looking at the things which are negeya to where you are in life, to where you're holding in life, you will keep on climbing naturally and become as big a tzaddik as you can. B'vakasha. Wonderful. But then, when a person is not connected to tzaddik, is not connected to tzaddik emes, he can learn tremendous amount of Torah. He can learn tremendous amount of Kabbalah. He can get tremendous madrigas. We're saying that all the world gave him, an appointment certificate written with golden letters. We are talking here that he is being crowned as Tzaddik Adar. He's being crowned as the ruler, the Tzaddik. The entire world is under him. he gets to believe his own legend. Am Yisrael will only get to Geula when all the tzaddikim will be moide and will acquiesce and admit that the tzaddik emes is the one who is above them, and they're receiving from him, and they cannot serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu really as much as they already have without him. It is said in the story of Yosef and his brothers. Yosef is telling his brothers his dreams. He says, here we are, making bundles, sheaves of wheat in the field, and there is my sheaf standing, and your bundles are bowing to mine. And the brothers get upset. This is what you mean to be above us, to reign over us, to be our king. He's not the Bechor. He is the Bechor of Rachel. And then he tells another dream. He tells his father, here I am. It is my dream, and I see the sun and the moon, 11 stars are all bowing down to me. So his father makes himself as if he's upset with him. He says, but he knew that if he Aviv Shomer Sadava, and his father kept that memory in his heart to see when will it come true. Because we say in the Haggadah, Arami Oyved Avi, that Lavan Arami, the one who wanted to totally destroy and annihilate my father, which means Yaakov Avinu and all his tribes. So what did he do? Where did we find that he did anything, to destroy, to exterminate the entire Am Yisrael? The answer is this was done when he switched Rachel and Leah. Both Rachel and Leah were the wives of Yaakov Avinu, as well as, as their concubines. The maiden servants. They're also their sisters. But the first wife, the one who was supposed to be the first, is Rachel. And Rachel, the Torah says that Rachel was of extraordinary, extremely beautiful and extraordinarily beautiful. The very same way here is said by the daughter of the Pauper. In Yaakov Avinu, the beauty of Yaakov Avinu was, Zohar says that the beauty of Yaakov Avinu was the beauty of Adam HaRishon. Adam HaRishon was so handsome that his beauty darkened, the Galgal of Chama. He outshone the sun. So you're talking about the most beautiful men that have ever existed, marrying the most beautiful woman that there is. They gave a birth to a son, that is Yosef. That the Torah actually says he was extraordinarily beautiful. The same kind of beauty that Rachel had. Had Rachel married Yaakov first, Yosef would have been the Bechor. If Yosef would have been recognized as the Bechor, all the Shvatim, all the brothers would be moide, that he's the leader, that he's the main child of Yaakov Avinu, and they all follow him. But Lavan switched them. And because of that switch, Reuven and the children of Leah were born first. Later on, the children of Rachel were born after all the children of Leah and the two maiden servants. Then Yosef was born. So as seeing things from the outside, who the heck do you think you are? But Yosef knew, as we saw later on, Yosef knew that not only that his brothers, all the tzaddikim, which are all huge tzaddikim, all have to admit to the fact that he is the tzaddik amiti and they have to be under him. He went and he told it to them, and it caused a tremendous resentment from them. So comes the question, so why did he say that? Why does he tell them that? Why is he causing all that strife? The answer is because they need to know. They need to know that Tzadik Emes needs to tell the people that he is the Tzadik Emes. Now, if they decide they don't want to admit this and to put themselves under him, it's up to them. That's the reason why Beis HaMikdash was nechna. But when the Tzadik Emes comes, and he is the Tzadik Emes, so Yosef has to tell the dreams. And his father knows that that's the truth. When Moshe Rabbeinu comes, he has to say, Hashem sent me to you. I'm Moshe Rabbeinu, and nobody can do other than what I say. And if Korach and Hadassah come, because of an unbelievable London, and he managed to convince everybody to go against Moshe Rabbeinu, should have open elections, democratic elections, who's going to be the leader? No such thing. All the tzaddikim have to be under the tzaddik emes, Chinas Moshe. It's one of the reasons why we need to understand Am Yisrael has huge tzaddikim, unbelievably big tzaddikim. This Shabbos was a yortzeit of one of Am Yisrael's biggest tzaddikim in the latest generations, of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Unbelievable tzaddik. Tremendous hashpah, unbelievable human being, something really special. So people ask, when we say, the Rabbeinu is the tzaddik emes, they say, how do you know that Rabbi Nachman is tzaddik emes and the Lubavitcher Rebbe is not that tzaddik? The answer is very simple. Because Rabbeinu said that he is a tzaddik emes, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe never said he was a tzaddik emes. He was a real tzaddik. He would not call himself what he was not. The fact that his people claim that he was the Moshe of the generation, beside I understand that. It's natural. He was really huge. Really. He still is huge. And there's tremendous Ruach HaKodesh in whatever he wrote. And they can keep on digging in it and mining it, and B'ezrat Hashem goyim lebechal al chal, you should be successful in everything that they do. But the tzaddik emes has to announce, here I'm standing and all your bundles bow to mine. Here I'm standing and the sun and the moon and 11 stars are bowing to me. It's not because he holds himself to be Mr. Gross, Mr. Big. It's because that is what needs to be done. And when all the tzaddikim will be moided to the tzaddik emes, then all the beauty of the world will be opened. Then Mashiach will come, and the Mesa Mikdash will be built. But because we are entrapped and enraptured with the Yiddish beauty of the tzaddikim, that each one, so look at what a beautiful tzaddik this one is, what a beautiful tzaddik this one is, what a huge tzaddik this one is, and they're all huge tzaddikim. Unbelievable tzaddikim. If it's the Lubavitcher Rebbe, if it's the Satmar Rebbe, if it's the Gera Rebbe, and the Stipler, and Reb Chaim Kanievsky, and the Briskerov, and Rabbi Belzel, and Kenan Horam, so huge tzaddikim. But the Geula cannot come until they actually, all their bundles bow down to the bundle of Yosef HaTzadik. And if they don't, then suddenly it's a pastimish, it's not befitting that they should, now bow themselves under the tzaddik emes. Well, the tzaddik emes doesn't wear these clothes. He says, this is where all the destruction comes from. And I'm not talking about being lured by the chen shel sheker of the goyim. I'm talking about the chen of the Jews. How much we need to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu to see the beauty, to see the Ruach HaKodesh of the Tzaddik Emes. When we were saying Ashreinu Shezachinu, we are fortunate to be zoche to see the Chen Emes of the Tzaddik Amiti. This is what we should be begging every single day of our lives, to see the Chen Amiti of the Tzaddik Amiti. And all the tzaddikim should see his chen. This is when B'ezrat Hashem the Geula will come. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem, until now, the shir Spur Meisius. Okay, B'ezrat Hashem, this Wednesday we'll continue with Likutei Moharan, Terech Chaf Daled in Yitz Hashem.